Hi, folks. I'm Carrie Wasigner. I teach in the English department at Yuba College, and welcome to my course. This is English 1B, and it is a hybrid version of 1B, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to share it with you today. You're going to get to, play around with it as much as you want. I've opened it up for everyone to just be inside and see whatever they want to see, get inspired in any way they want to get inspired, hopefully. But there's a couple of things that I'd like to highlight about this course. The first is kind of the way I've built it. So I am very lucky because my dean was very supportive when I said, you know what, I really want to try Introduction to Literature in a hybrid modality. And she said, okay, let's try it. And so I took what was a fully online asynchronous course and I modified it so that about 3/4 of the course would be online, and then we would be meeting once a week for 2 hours. Um, it was not nearly as difficult to modify it that way from asynchronous to hybrid as I think it might have been from face to hybrid. But I did have to think really carefully about how I wanted to structure the workflow. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you, because if you are at all interested in moving into some sort of hybrid teaching, that's probably something that you're going to have to think about. And what I did was first decide what I wanted my in-class time to be. And I decided that I really wanted it to be interactive. I wanted the students to be discussing things. I wanted them to be grappling with texts. I wanted them to be interacting with each other and with me. I did not want it to be lecture in class. I wanted all of the content delivery to be outside of class. So with that decision made, that made me think about, okay, well then wherever the class period is scheduled for, that's going to have to be somewhere in the middle of my week. Because before they come to class, I want them to get some content and do a little work with it. Then I want them to prep for class. Then I want them to be in class. And then I want them to do some sort of analytical work that is kind of growing organically out of what we did in class. And so that's the structure that I have from week to week. And you can see it here in my poetry unit. So for example, week 2, there is a lecture that students have to listen to online, watch and listen to. And it's a play pause it lecture, so there's an embedded quiz at the end that focuses on terminology. It's not very long. It just helps me know that the students have engaged with the lecture. And then there's some page reading. There's some literature reading. There's some prep work that they have to do for class, which I have set up as a discussion, but it's not really a discussion. It's more like a bulletin board, kind of post here and see what others have posted. Because what we do then is we come to class and we do the actual discussion in class. Then they go home and they do a homework assignment. And they do that on their own and they'll submit it. And that's the same schedule every week. So there's online lecture, online reading, prepping for class, in-class work, and then the homework assignment. It's scheduled very consistently. So except for the weeks that we have an exam, and you could see that here in week 6, we have an exam in class. Except for the weeks where we have an exam, it's the same every single week. So it's very consistent for the students and they know what to expect, what is expected of them. And I get a lot of participation in the online parts of this, actually. It's pretty exciting. I think I actually get more participation online in my hybrid class than I do in my asynchronous online classes. So if you are interested in hybrid teaching, that's something to think about. How do you want to structure your weeks? What is that going to look like in the Canvas shell? How is your in-class work and your out-of-class work in Canvas how are those two things going to complement each other? The other thing that I wanted to show you has to do with communicating with my students about feedback. So as I'm sure many of you know, because you are currently going through the DE review process or have gone through the DE review process in the past, one of the criteria, I think it's category C7 on the rubric. One of the criteria is to create a communication plan. Let your students know when they're going to get feedback, how they're going to get feedback, And most people put this communication plan in their syllabus. I kind of have one in my syllabus. I need to beef it up a little bit. But what I started doing was thinking about the workflow and when do students need to know about how to see the feedback on the different types of assignments that they have. And it's really not in that first couple of days when they're reading the syllabus, it's when they get the assignment back. So I started creating tutorials, and I am trying to drop them into the course stream at the moments where they're most going to need them. So it's kind of like jitter, just-in-time remediation, but it's more like just-in-time communication. So for example, students here during week 2, they watch their first lecture and do their first embedded lecture quiz. Immediately following that, I have a page that walks them through how to see feedback on those play pause it lecture quizzes. So they can take the lecture quiz, they'll see a score, but they may not know how to see feedback on the questions. So they can come here, they can watch this video, and it'll walk them through how to see that feedback. And I'm trying to do this for each of the different types of assessment that my students have. So they have this for the play pause it quizzes. And I have here, it's a little bit later in the course, I have a page specifically for how to see essay comments, because I leave essay comments in Microsoft Word for my students. And so I've dropped that page. Here it is. I'll go ahead and click on it. I've dropped that page into the course stream right about when students are going to get their essays back. And what's great about doing this is that you can move it. So this semester, I don't have a whole lot of students. So that means that I'm probably going to get to their essays earlier. So I may actually, if their essays are, come in during week 7, I may actually take this how to see essay comments page and I may put it up here at the beginning of week 8. In a semester where I've got a ton of students and I know I'm not going to get their comments back to them right away, I may move it further down. Again, it's about letting them know when they're going to get that feedback in the flow of the course. I could do this in announcements. And I do in announcements often refer to these how to see essay comments pages or how to see play pause it quiz feedback pages. But a lot of students don't read announcements. So if I put it into the flow of the course, I know that they're going to see it because they're going to go through the pages in order. So those are the 2 things that I wanted to highlight. Again, you can look at whatever you want to see in the course. Like it's totally open to you. There are a couple disclaimers I have, though. Just note that a part of my course is under construction, especially down here, the 3rd unit on fiction. I'm really redoing a good portion of this. So some of this stuff, like I have some lectures in here that need to be redone, some of them that need to be captioned, so there's some work that I have to do in here. So just be aware of that. And also, like many of you, my course is, I'm trying really hard to make it ADA compliant, but it's not perfectly ADA compliant. I know there are some areas that I need to work on. I have some transcripts in here that screen readers can't read, so I have to be working on those this semester. And a student last semester told me that one of my videos was not captioned. I thought they all were. So I just have to go through, figure out what's going on with that, if there is one that isn't captioned, and work on that. So just be aware, it's not perfect, but I'm working toward as perfect as I can possibly make it. Anyway, I hope that this is a useful experience for you. If you have any questions or you see anything that you want to ask me about or talk about, I would be more than happy to do that. If you have anything that you think I would benefit from that you'd like to share, I would love to hear from you too. I think collaboration is wonderful. I love being able to share what we're all doing in our courses. So feel free to get in touch.